Hi everyone, thanks for painting with me today. I'm Helen from Acrylic Acrylic Art. We're going to be doing a really simple autumn landscape today. As you can see, I've got my lovely autumn colours ready to go. We'll also be using a fan brush to do a lot of the work today. If you don't have one, don't worry, because I will give you alternatives as we go through the painting. I'll show you some nice little techniques with the fan brush to paint the trees and also the foreground in the front. So we'll start with some misty mountains in the back, some pine trees and a really nice warm autumn colours in the foreground as we move forward. So let's get started. We're going to keep the sky really simple with some soft grey autumn clouds. I've mixed cerulean blue, black and white together, and I'm just putting that on the right hand side of the canvas. You can use whatever brush you like. I'm using a large flat brush because we're going to blend it together in a minute. I've added the white paint, I'm gently blending it all together a little, and then I'm going to come in with a mop brush. You could also use any fluffy makeup brush or something similar that you have. We'll swirl those colours together just to create a really nice, soft, gentle autumn sky. Next, we're going to add in some faint misty mountains in the background. So I've added a little more cerulean blue and white. I've also made the paint quite thin, so I've added more water, and we're going to gently just mark out some mountains in the distance. As the mountains get closer towards us, I've added a little more black to make them slightly darker to give that feeling of distance, and we'll just paint those in too. Don't worry too much because a lot of this will be covered with trees and things in the foreground. Next, we'll put a little bit of a forest in the distance. So we're adding some sap green and black with some cerulean blue. I've still got my flat brush and we're going to paint those in, sort of coming halfway up the mountain side and to about the centre part of the canvas. I've made the green slightly darker by adding a little more black, and now I've got my fan brush. We're going to use the very edge of the brush to draw a straight line down for our pine trees, and then I'm using each corner of the brush to get the really fine details and points at the top of the pine tree, and as I'm moving downwards I'm going to start using more of the flat edge of the brush to paint the denser, thicker part of the tree at the bottom. So it's going to be quite thin and delicate at the top, and then as we're moving down we'll use the flatter edge of the brush to make it denser. We'll make it wider too, so overall it's a triangle shape as the tree comes downwards. As you're painting your pine trees across the canvas, you can make some slightly bigger than others, some smaller, just to give a little bit of variation. If you don't have a fan brush, don't worry. You can also paint the trees using a filbert brush. Just use the very tip of the brush, sweeping it from side to side as you're moving down the tree, making it gradually wider as you move downwards. Next, I'm going to make a lovely rich brown colour with my burnt sienna, alizarin crimson. I'm also going to add some green to it as well as some black to just knock out that vibrancy a little and dull it down. These trees are still going to be in the distance and I don't want them to be too bright and vibrant just yet. For the next part, I really do want them to be vibrant and have some really nice autumn colour in it. So I'm using my cadmium yellow, a little burnt sienna. I'm still using the fan brush to get those nice delicate details using the corner and the edge, and we'll build up the ground and the land as it's sloping downwards, leading to the middle of the canvas. So if you paint slightly diagonally, it'll give that illusion that the ground is sloping downwards. You can have some fun with your colours. I've made a really rich earthy brown for the corner with burnt sienna, alizarin crimson and black, and I'm also going to use this brown to add some shadows to the ground as well. In some areas you can add more alizarin crimson, in others more yellow. And don't forget, if you don't like any part that you've done, just let it dry and then come over the top with a different colour. Again, if you don't have a fan brush when painting the ground, don't worry, you can use a flat brush or a filbert brush and just keep it on that angle, use the very tip of the brush and gently blend the colours together. Next we'll add a little bit of a path leading us towards the trees. I've made grey again with my black and white. I'm using a small flat brush to just put in a little bit of a blended path, and it's going to get slightly wider as it gets closer towards us. Using the same grey to add some bare tree trunks in front of the pine trees just to give a little more interest. We'll also use this grey to add some rocks on the ground at either side of the path. Next we're going to add our really warm fiery coloured autumn trees in the foreground. Just paint the tree trunks down in black, making them slightly wider at the bottom. And then we're going to come in with our fan brush again. We'll use the same technique as we did on the pine trees, using the very corners of the fan brush for the fine details, moving downwards and using the edge of the brush as we come down the trees. You can use your alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, cadmium yellow and really mix the colours up and blend them on the canvas. And when you're happy with that, we can maybe come in with a small round brush and just add a few little details and dots on the edge of the tree. We'll add some highlights as well, and also we can put in the indication of a few tree branches. I hope you've enjoyed painting with me today. If you have, please hit that like button for me, and I'll see you next time.